Good evening and welcome back to another video. We start today with an interesting day. We had very good gains for the last 2-3 months, and then we had major sell-offs. So we're sitting at $3,833. We hit a high of around $4,200 for Bitcoin, with a market cap of over 142 billion, I want to say. So the market actually dropped about 15 billion in a very short space of time. So let's just quickly take a look. Well, sorry, that was just Bitcoin, but let's just take a look at the market actually. So it started off pretty well. So the market started off pretty well today, and from this morning it was up, and from yesterday, for the most of the day we just kind of moved sideways with slight increases and slight dips, and I just assumed we would move sideways all day. I expected some sort of correction, but I didn't expect this massive drop, and we went all the way down from 141 billion off a cliff edge down to 127 billion. So we lost around $15 billion. So obviously it seemed like people were just taking profit and then breaking off, and it obviously crashed the market there. So I think what's happening is Bitcoin itself, if we go into Bitcoin price, and obviously everything's dominated around Bitcoin since it makes up over 50% of the actual entire market cap. Bitcoin price can't seem to hold, and it will again. It just couldn't get, I mean, it held past 4,200 for a very short period of time, maybe 10 minutes or something, or half an hour it held, and then it obviously dropped below to 4,200. I kept mentioning 4,200 because that's kind of, if it can hold past 4,200, it's kind of a clear trigger point towards bull. Obviously what we'd been doing for the last few days was pretty good, and it was very good sentiment of a lot of buying power, and then obviously once Bitcoin was a mass sell-off, it goes all the way down to 3,700. But the positive from this massive price drop is the volume is very, very good. I mean, 38 billion for a Sunday is fantastic. Bitcoin is over 10 billion in 24-hour volume. Obviously it's dropped its market cap. It was sitting around 72, 73 billion, but still, I would say in a way positive news. There's a lot of influx in the market with money. I would expect Tether to be up. Is it actually up today? Are people throwing their money into Tether? Yes, so Tether, people are just throwing their money back into Tether, and then wait for, sorry, very long day, a point just to re-enter into the market. You can see where Tether's gone back up, and exactly the opposite to where Bitcoin has dropped. The rest of the currencies have all dropped. They dropped and Tether went up. So everyone's just throwing their money back into Tether, and you can see that from the $11 billion of 24-hour volume. But actually, really, do you see it over Bitcoin's normally second, and today's obviously taken number one spot. So people throwing their money back straight into Tether and looking to re-enter. And they could play a game where you enter at $3,800, you sell off at $4,150. It retraces back, you buy in again, and then you can make $400 a time every time, well, depending on how much Bitcoin you're buying, to just play the market. And that's simply how people play the market. And they can see the resistance, they can see the stops, and then on the other side just put a buy order and then a sell order. It's quite easy. They'll buy at 3,800 and something and sell at 4,100 and something, and then just buy again at 3,800 and something, and then that way you just got auto buys and auto sells, and you know that's kind of the barrier working, that $400 barrier for Bitcoin. So that's how it's going to work. Anyway, let's look at the first article. It comes from CCN. Bitcoin bull Max Keizer blasts billionaire skeptic Warren Buffett as an unmitigated fraud. Bitcoin enthusiast Max Keizer took a gander at a recent letter that Warren Buffett sent to Berkshire Hathaway shareholders, and he wasn't pleased at all. He saw that the action Warren Buffett revealed in the letter as prime reason why people should buy Bitcoin instead of investing in the stock market. Keizer's response included tweets and interviews over the weekend. He tweeted that the letter indicated that Buffett is not satisfied with the stock market. The points made in Buffett's letter that he may have helped push Bitcoin's price over $4,100. And Max tweeted, Bitcoin up on news. Warren Buffett exposes himself in his annual letter as an unmitigated fraud and a charlatan relying entirely on taxpayer bailouts and accounting tricks. While many took the siege from Buffett's to Bitcoin price as a joke, what Keizer said in an interview with RT carried more weight in making a case of Bitcoin investing instead of the stock investing. So there's actually a video here which is actually with RT, which is Russia Today, where they're speaking to Keizer. And also, which I didn't realize, RT were a channel who picked up the lightning torch on Twitter and obviously moved on to the next person. So they've obviously been seen as a pro crypto for RT as a news channel. And in this video, the journalist speaks about they were talking about Bitcoin in 2011 when it was $1. Keizer has been very vocal about his displeasure with anything to do with traditional investing. He upped his ante Saturday by specifically going after Buffett and what was later, that was revealed in the letter. Take a look at this tweet. Newsflash: Bitcoin surmounts $4,000. Keizer says Warren Buffett exposes himself as a crook. In an interview with RT published Sunday, Keizer took Buffett to task, saying things few would dare mutter about. The Oracle and Omaha. He minced no words as he scolded Buffett for being partly to blame for the corporate malpractice, including some in Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio. According to RT, Keizer specifically mentioned Wells Fargo as one of the companies. Buffett's fraud are innumerable and date back decades. In a letter, Buffett explained that the companies he repurchased shares were more attractive. There's a quote from Buffett about buying into, I think, American Express. Yeah. I think this sort of back and forth between just generally Warren Buffett and the crypto market has been happening for a number of years now. Obviously, Warren Buffett has been quoted as saying in an interview that Bitcoin is rat poison, and then I think Bill Gates might have said it's rat poison squared. But in the same sort of breath, say they don't know anything about cryptocurrency and don't intend to. So you're talking about somebody who is probably one or two or third richest man in the world, with probably like a net worth of about $60 or $70 billion. It's a very successful man, very, very, obviously he'll go down in history as a potential great investor for the ages. I think I remember hearing an article once where he took, I think, $5,000 of somebody's money, or maybe $15,000 about 40-50 years ago, and invested it for these people. They were his neighbors, and that money is worth now, I think, $4 million or something. So of course he knows where to put money. However, that doesn't mean he knows cryptocurrency. Just because he understands traditional finance doesn't mean he understands cryptocurrency finance. And it's the same thing as when the internet came about. You could see videos on YouTube where people were looking at what the email was and didn't understand what the point of email was and why we couldn't just post letters. When you are living in analog times and you believe and you think in analog, you will never understand digital because you don't have the capabilities. Now, Warren Buffett doesn't want to learn it, isn't learning it. unless he makes us think he doesn't know, and maybe he's got people buying Bitcoin. There's always a good way to lower the prices, talk negatively about it, and when Warren Buffett says something, generally the market listens. He's obviously a serial investor and has made a lot of money for a lot of people by doing this. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's right and Bitcoin is going to go to zero or end sadly, like it says in this article, and it's going to end badly. Bitcoin has got better possibilities and a better product than gold. And even the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad has said that, and he's only buying gold and Bitcoin, and he might be buying Litecoin. And that guy himself is worth about $300 million. Why is it that probably one of the ones who will go down in history, Warren Buffett, talks so negatively about cryptocurrency? Because of course they have they're vested interest in these corporations in America and across the world, which are regular blue chip companies like American Express, like Goldman Sachs, and your New York Stock Exchange. And a lot of them don't have anything to do with cryptocurrency. And he needs to keep his fund and his portfolio at a value that is good for his customers and good for himself. And he doesn't want cryptocurrency taking that away. And it's happening when people are not looking to invest in maybe traditional finance and moving into cryptocurrency finance and have no intention ever going back to traditional finance because it's too corrupt, it's full of scams, it's manipulated, things like oil, gold, silver, coffee. These are all heavily manipulated markets. We know the price of gold is almost set on a daily basis. We know OPEC seem to define the price of oil and then later on move up and down depending on what the situation is, what the news is, and then will claim things like, we've got more barrels of oil than we assumed, so the price is going to go down because obviously we've got more supply. And in the same vein, it will go down. Price will go up when they say we don't have as much oil as we once thought. So it's very manipulated. These guys are in the game. They're being in a long game. They know when to buy. They know when to sell. Majority of the market doesn't know when to do that. So they're obviously on the inside. And then with cryptocurrency at the moment, there's no real inside because there's not enough companies that are coming in and trying to manipulate it. Anyway, let's move on. And I think some of the news that we are looking at the prices increasing may have to do with the Constantinople hard forks. At the moment, everything seems to be happening, and it's looking to happen tomorrow. Ethereum will undergo a network upgrade at block 7,280,000, estimated to occur on February 28th. The date for Ethereum's long-awaited hard fork is approaching, initially set to happen on 25th Feb. The countdown is now reset to happen 5 days from now, so that's Thursday. The official announcement stated that the scheduled upgrade will happen at block number 7.28 million, according to the Amber Data IO. It is likely to occur at February 28th. The long-awaited hard fork will bring major changes to the Ethereum improvement proposals, which are the EIPs. I've spoken about them before. I think there's about 5 or 6, which will affect several things such as core protocol specifications, client APIs, and contract standards. But that's not all. Since there were several accidental forks happening in the past caused by confusion and previously cancelled hard forks, the upcoming upgrade would also include a reversal to the original Constantinople changes. This is kind of key, and this is something that we need to be careful of. So I don't need to go back into the ins and outs of Constantinople and what it means for the price of ETH, and this is potentially why the price was up yesterday. However, if there is an option to reverse, we don't want a hard fork and a new coin creation on the back of a upgrade, which is exactly what a hard fork is. We don't need another Ethereum. We've got Ethereum Classic, we've got Ethereum, and I think we've got another Ethereum. I remember seeing something which was like a like, yeah, Ethereum Melter, Ethereum Cash, Ethereum Gold. What is this nonsense? It's unfortunately it is. I mean, look at this, $36. Is that even pointing of listing it? It's ranked 1,466. So what we don't want is another Ethereum, like an Ethereum Classic or Ethereum Lite or Ethereum Silver. It's very important that we stick to our guns. The team Ethereum work on this project. Don't have any infighting. Don't break off and do what they did with Roger Ver and the other dude who created Bitcoin Cash SV. We don't need that. We just need an Ethereum. We need Bitcoin. We need Litecoin, XRP, EOS, and blah blah blah. We don't need more forks. That's one thing the market does not need. We have 2,086, and every day I look at this, another coin is added to coin market cap, and nothing is being removed at the moment. So let's not do that. Let's make sure this fork is created, and it's really important for us as investors to show traditional markets what we are, what we do, and why we're different for them. And what we don't need is a copy of Ethereum. We don't need something else which is exactly the same infrastructure as Ethereum, which has exactly the same number of coins as Ethereum, which does nothing more than Ethereum does now, but promises to be better. So Ethereum has a circulating supply of 104 million coins. We don't need another 100 million coins of Ethereum for something else which is like Ethereum, which is not Ethereum. So let's not do that. And let's just hope 28th of Feb is the day it happens. It's not going to get delayed again, because at that point, it could be a good point to re-enter into the market, because we'd expect the price to drop even more, especially for Ethereum. So it made a lot of gains the last few days, last several days in fact, and let's not try and lose out more by bailing out of a fork. So yeah, I'll keep it there. I mean, there's not much to report more on the news about why we dropped it. Reading an article quickly earlier, which potentially might have just been bots who were buying, and then because they work on algorithm, they have algorithms. Sorry, very tired today. That they all decided to sell at the same time, and the market plummeted. You wouldn't normally get that many. You won't get any institutional investors trading on Sunday unless it's in the Middle East, which I highly doubt. So the sell-off would have just been people taking profits and bots. I can't see anything more about that. We'll see what happens tomorrow when the regular markets open, and we'll know in the morning with the Asian markets how they respond to this price clawback. Anyway, I'll leave it there. As always, great making these videos. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.